Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Tom Baker Show. I am he, and joining me on this particular show, we're going to talk some karting to start the show, and a big event coming up on Thanksgiving weekend, Friday and Saturday, November 28th and 29th. And Curtis Polchek has joined us. Curtis is involved heavily in the dirt karting world and will be participating in that event in a number of different ways. He owns Extreme Speed Tire Solutions, which is his business, and he also has some drivers that race for him. And we're going to talk about that and talk about everything that his business does and talk about the race, which is the O'Reilly Auto Parts National Indoor Kart Championship, the 35th annual, I might add. And we'll talk about that as well. First of all, Curtis, welcome. It's good to have you. And tell me a little bit about your background first in terms of the racing side. How did you get started in all this? And then how did that lead to Extreme Speed Tire Solutions?
So I've been doing go-karting probably about 22 years total. Simply a Saturday night racetrack in Marpaw, Louisiana. I show up with my nephew, and he's actually already, my brother bought him a go-kart, and they're racing, and I show up on the scene and get involved in it as well. At that point, end up starting racing. Probably raced, I think I was 16 at the time. I raced till about 10 years, and then had kids, married, things like that, and kind of backed out the scene a little bit. Started doing some tires and stuff for a really good friend of mine, Bryce Fauntleroy. Worked with him. Worked with Fauntleroy for a while, and then he moved on to cars, and then I started working with Blazak, Tyler Blazak. Did tires for him for a while, and then my little boy got old enough to race, Tucker, and then
sure did.
We were all racing.
Big enough too.
Say again.
Big enough too.
Yeah, and so we kind of, that's where the Extreme Speed came from. Was Chris Blazak and Tyler Blazak and myself. We were all together, and then got hooked up with Frank Bondotti. Bondotti Performance, and that was at the Big O, and we started talking chemicals and things that I was looking for. So he said, well, let's talk next week. So after the Big O, I called him, we have a conversation and what I was looking for, what I was trying to do. So he started blending me some stuff, sending it to me, and started trying it. It took me about a year and a half, 2 years to get the program where I wanted it for the region that I race in, because I'm a little different than some of the other folks, on the East Coast. So he landed on some blends that we liked, and he can do some specialty stuff if we need to. I used it myself for a while without selling it, and then between my wife and Chris, they was like, "Yeah, you just need to bottle it. You need to start selling it. You need to push it. That's where Extreme Speed Tire Solution came from at that point, and it's been very, very successful. I got a lot of racers here in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama racing it. I've sent it as far as Arizona. Won several championships with it. We've won Batesville with it. We've won Daytona. We've done well with it. And then you have the Reaper stuff that changed the game a little bit whenever that hit the market. So we we had to work on some chemicals and do some different things for that tire. And right now we're pretty comfortable with what we have.
So tell me a little bit about that side of the business for those in our audience who aren't real familiar with karting and tire prep and all of that, because it's not really used in, a lot of forms of big car racing. But it's critical in most cases to success in dirt karting. So can you give us just sort of a fifth grade explanation of the whole sort of tire prep and that side of things?
A lot of racers in the karting world, they use a lot of chemicals, and tires is where you make speed at in go-kart racing. You set the go-kart up, you get a normal standard setup, and then you start working on tires. And when I say working on tires, I mean you can prep it from the inside, you can prep it from the outside, you can do both. You can cut the tire, you can age the tire. All that stuff is critical to go-kart racing, depending on the racetrack that you race at. If it's hard, fast, age is a big deal. If it's a low bite situation, then chemicals are a very big deal. Inside rolling and then pan rolling or wiping or whatever the case may be, but that's where your speed is in karting racing. And then you have tire cutters, and you have hot boxes, and you have tire warmers, and there's a lot of things, a lot of tools that you have to have, and it can get expensive quick. I mean,
Yeah.
the latest tie grinder that Larry Jones has is $8,000. We have that machine.
Wow.
The Larry Jones cutter, we have that machine. The hot box, we have that because it's a need that you got to have whenever you get in a tire, when you're doing tires. Not only for I got 3 drivers, so just you do the math on that. You got to have tires for those 3 drivers, not count customers that you have to do tires for. So
Sure.
it's a lot of time. Scuffing tires is a big deal. Going to the racetrack with brand new tires and going out there after the races, or renting a track and going the next day, and scuffing tires in. That's key to success as well. That goes back to the aging of the tire that I spoke of. So a lot of things go into tires for the karting racer.
It does. And you have, of course, most of the year you're racing outdoors, but then as we get into the off season, the fall and winter, there are a number of indoor races which are an entirely different ball game, right? To set up for the dirt composition is different. Each track is a little different. Of course, these tracks, again, for those who don't know, you rent an arena and you form a dirt track on the arena floor, so that the dirt is brought into the facility and shaped and formed and rolled and all of that. So a race like the O'Reilly Auto Parts National Indoor Kart Championship in Batesville, Mississippi, is an entirely different ball game when it comes to tire prep than necessarily racing at an outdoor track would be, is it not?
100%. I mean, Scotty Reed and Shane James and Lanier and them do a heck of a job at that facility. Like you just said, the dirt's brought in, so the dirt's not there year round. It's not ran on year round. It's literally, this racetrack is built in approximately 2 weeks. Sometimes the dirt's outside, sometimes the dirt's inside. They use calcium, they use all these chemicals as well to bond that dirt together to make it the best racetrack they possibly can. Because you got to realize that there's 800 to 900 entries a day. That's a lot of laps on that racetrack. It takes a lot of beat.
It is.
Yep. And it's fast. They doing some serious lap times around there, and these kids are fast on these racetracks. So you got to have that go-kart into that dirt.
So talk a little bit then about how you yourself sort of prepare for a race like the ONIKC, because you're not only preparing your drivers, your house drivers' carts and figuring out, what are we bringing to the racetrack, but you've also got a number of customers there. So for you're preparing as a cart owner, you're preparing as a crew chief, but you're also preparing as a business person. What brands of tire prep and how does all that work coming to an event of this size, which is, by the way, the world's largest indoor kart event and one of the largest karting events in the world, period, this particular race in Batesville.
Yes, sir. So for me, I start preparing tires really around August for this racetrack.
Okay.
We start preparing as early as August, and anything that I have in rotation that I feel that I can re-roll, or that would benefit us on the racetrack. I'll show up at Batesville with approximately 30 sets of tires for my drivers. Then you're also preparing tires for your customers. Then you have the customer, you have the customer that wants you to do it, and then you have the customer that wants to learn. You kind of coach that customer, and they can put their own little swing on things to their likings as well, that they feel that may work. So you have two different customers there. You have the hands-on guy that wants to learn, wants to do it, and then you have the customer that just says, "All right, I'll pay you, you do it." So it's a different crowd whenever you have the guy that wants you to do it, because again, you got to that's just extra tires that you have to do for your that you do the same way you do for your team. So you have to put that timeline on them as well, because you're doing it, so they need to be exactly like your team's tires. And so I tell them all the time, this is when I got to have the tire. If I don't have the tire, you're not going to have the tire I have. So it's very critical with timing in this in the tire process. The amount of wipes you put in it, the much you roll in it, the scuffing procedure, the cutting procedure, all that stuff is time consuming.
It's amazing, really, the sort of, there's a technology of the chemicals, but then there's also a very tight and strict procedure for how to get the most out of what you're doing with all of that. And like you said, every wipe and the timing of all of that, the temperature, it's almost you really have to be a chemist to win some of these races, I feel like, as much as you do a great driver.
Well, you might have the winning tire in the trailer, but you also got to make the right call to pull it off the rack and bolt it on.
Yeah.
And then you got to wipe the right wipe at the racetrack, that works for that track.
So what else does your business provide? I mean, I know you do chassis and support with Charger, and tell us about some of the other aspects of
not
what
only
your business
do we
does.
cut tires and stagger tires and roll tires and repair tires for all different racetracks, we also have teamed up with Charger Racing Chassis this year, and we have Charger of Louisiana, kind of in that with Mr. Joel Couvion out of Alexandria, nice. Louisiana. We kind of started that. He's kind of in Alexandria. I'm kind of in the Hammond, Louisiana area. Okay. And he has some things at his shop. I have some things at mine. And then, I pretty much handle all the tire side of it. I also do all the, the chassis sets up and things like that. I sell the go-karts and all that. We expanded a little bit and got, went into the Chavis racing bodies. So we have their products as well. So we kind of, I guess you could call it a kart shop. We can supply just about everything. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Thunderbolt racing engines, Rodney Woods racing engines, Loose Cannon racing engines, several choices there for motors. And I assume that all of those are slightly different from each other. Talk a little bit about the engine side of things.
So Thunderbolt racing engines, Randy Schatz, he's been with me the whole time. When I came into it, Diane Lamonte out of Independence, Louisiana, built all my engines. Well, he kind of retired out of the karting scene, and I partnered with Thunderbolt Racing Engines, and I've been with him for probably 15 years. And then as we progressed and going to the East Coast and making travels and things, we met some nice folks over there as well. And so we've kind of tried some of their engines. And then the newest one is Loose Cannon. Quick story on that one is that's actually a customer of mine. He's a 13-year-old kid that has literally took interest in the building motors, and his father's got him dynos and tools and tech tools, and he's went and met with Mr. Stout and went through the tech procedures and all those things at 13 years old. And so a couple weeks ago, we go to a local racetrack, and we ran one of his motors to promote his motor, and we actually won on it. So hats off to him for taking interest in the sport.
Incredible at 13 years old. Yes. Now, is he also a racer? Did he just come in on the, okay. Yes. So he's a racer who decided that he wanted to get into the engine business.
Correct.
That's amazing.
Mr. Charles Perkins' son, L.C. Perkins. He's out of Mississippi.
Okay. Well, it shows you, again, what young people can accomplish when they put their mind to it, and I think that's great.
He loves horsepower. He likes the Johnny Berry engines. He uses his stock appearance and stuff, and so that's what interests him is the motor side of it.
And you've got a couple of different clutch options too, Hipman clutches and Disco Donnie Nall clutches, both very well known in karting.
Yes, sir. Hitman is out of Pensacola, Florida, and then we got Disco out of the East Coast of North Carolina over there that we work with as well.
Yeah. Now tell me about RKT Designs. What is that?
RKT Designs is out of Texas. They do all our decals. Kind of new to the karting world. They do a lot of the big car stuff, and we partnered up with them because Joel came from the big car world, and so we partnered up with them. And they're doing all our decals for us.
Gotcha. Okay. And last but surely not least, you've got an affiliation with, I believe this is Four Takes and Fuel, the podcast out of Louisiana, which those guys are awesome. They have a lot of fun on that show. What does that consist of?
So we just kind of sponsor their show, help them out a little bit there, and then the boys, Colin and Tucker and Jeremy will. Anytime there's a junior driver that they interview, Tucker and them all, pretty much know pretty much everybody in karting. Whenever they bring those kids on and they interview them, they have Tucker and Colin and Jeremy come on with them and just kind of help them out, so they're not talking to all adults and let the kids run the show. So it's pretty cool.
Nice. Well, and that brings me to what I think is the most fun part of this and that's the three drivers that you have. Triple threat, basically, is what I call them. Your son Tucker, of course, Jeremy Cuvion, and Colin Stewart. All three of those kids are just top-notch young people and really, really talented racers. Talk a little bit about what it's like having the three musketeers on the team.
Yeah, it's a blessing, to be honest with you. I sit back and I've worked with Tucker for a while, and I worked with a bunch of kids in the karting as my career has been in karting. When I got hooked up with Jeremy and Mr. Joel and them, to take Jeremy from not having any laps under him to 8-9 months later, and he's qualifying second to World 100. It's pretty impressive, right? About 3 weeks ago, Colin has made a change and come on board with us as well to ride Charger. So it's an awesome opportunity for us to work with these young kids because when they with us, they're not getting in trouble, right?
Yeah,
and
for sure.
They love racing, they love the sport. All of them get along very well together. All of us dads and moms and parents all get along well. So it's a great opportunity for them. And I hope to be able to get them in that winner circle.
Okay. So tell us what you feel like the hardest part of running an event, an event successfully, doing well at an event like the O'Reilly Auto Parts National Indoor Kart Championship. What are the hardest? What's the biggest challenge to an indoor event like this?
So the challenge for a lot of your big teams is and I say big teams, but just any racer at the event, the biggest challenge for them is the amount of pit help they need to have, because you got a lot of moving parts at the racetrack, and if you're riding, you got to realize some of these guys riding 8 to 12 classes, maybe more than that, for the weekend. So you got to have more than one go-kart. You got to have more than one set of tires. You got to be able to turn these tires around. So you got to have multiple sets of tires. You got to have folks that are familiar with taking tires off, washing tires, putting tires back on, going to the grid at the right time. Because, I'm a lot of your tire guys you'll speak to, they're kind of a last-minute type guy. They don't want you leaving that pit area until exactly it's time to go. I don't need you standing at the grid waiting 30 minutes for your next class because now my tire's cold. I don't like it. You don't leave until it's time to go. So there's a lot of moving parts into that, and you got to have that person or those people assigned to those jobs, and that's all they do. They don't change the system. We don't reinvent the wheel. That's if you push it to the go-kart to the grid, you push it to the grid. If you're the tire guy that takes them off and cleans them, well, then that's your job. That's your responsibility. So that's the biggest challenge there, is getting the right amount of folks in the pits to get those go-karts to and from the racetrack for the amount of classes that you're going to attend that weekend.
Well, it is definitely a very busy weekend for everybody. 44 classes over 2 days, 22 classes each day, and pretty much everybody is running multiples of 3, 4, or 5,
exactly.
Which is really insane, honestly. And I don't know how you guys all do it in the pits, because it just looks like controlled chaos, basically. but that's what makes it fun, I guess, right? Is it's you're on the chip from 8 in the morning until the whole thing's over
It's just a
gosh,
rush.
8 or 10 in the evening.
If you never experienced that type of thing, it's unreal. It's absolutely unreal. And to have a rally there and sponsoring an event of such magnitude, it's pretty awesome for the Carters.
Well, putting my event voice hat on, we appreciate you being part of the supporters of the event and everything that you do, and we look forward to having you and your team there coming up on Thanksgiving weekend, and look forward to seeing how the triple threat does at Batesville this year. Real quick, how can people find you? Is there a website? Is there a Facebook? How do people reach out to Extreme Speed Tire Solutions?
Yeah, we do Facebook, Extreme Speed Tire Solutions. We're on Facebook, and just message the page, and you're going to get me. There's nobody else. It's me. And then same thing with Charger Louisiana. I'm an admin on that page as well. Joel really doesn't have time to police that, so I do that as well. So either page you usually get me.
Well, Curtis, we appreciate you taking some time to join us here, and really look forward to seeing what you guys can do at Batesville, November 28th and 29th. It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts National Indoor Kart Championships. ONIKC.com is the website, and we'll be back with more after this. For over 50 years, FHS Superior Synthetic Oil has powered high-performance engines with unbeatable protection and speed. Whether it's drag racing, go-karts, sprint cars, stock cars, or your daily driver, FHS stands for high speed and delivers every time. Their advanced synthetic oils boost your engine's responsiveness, acceleration, and efficiency, giving you the winning edge on every lap. Visit FHSoil.com today to find the right products for your engine. FHSoil.com.
Attention track and series owners, elevate your fan experience with the TrackTune app. TrackTune works with your PA system. Fans and teams at the track can hear the announcers through their phones, ensuring everyone hears race calls, sponsor plugs, and more during race nights. It's simple to set up, affordable, and free for fans to download and enjoy. Visit tracktune.live for all the details and join tracks nationwide on the app today.
For race fans across the United States, GetInTheStands.com is the place to find racetracks where you live and where you're traveling. Just go to GetInTheStands.com and enter your location. You'll see the tracks within 100 miles of that point, either as a list or on a map. GetInTheStands.com is 100% free to use and mobile friendly. So whether you're on a computer, a tablet, or on your phone, there's no need to download an app. To find racetracks across the United States, open your web browser and head to GetInTheStands.com. GetInTheStands.com, your racetrack directory.
Joining me now is our second special guest of this O'Reilly Auto Parts National Indoor Kart Championship preview show. This is Larry Bryant, and Larry has just made the purchase of a lifetime. He bought a kart manufacturing business. Larry is the new owner of Eleanor Chassis, and we're going to talk a little bit about what that means and why he had a moment of imbalance and decided to buy a car manufacturing business. Larry, welcome to the show. What in the world were you thinking, man?
Oh, first of all, thanks for having me. What was I thinking? We spend a lot of time on the road, promoting other people's products on a regular basis. And it's always been a dream of, mine and my father's to own our own chassis. And it was just an opportunity for us to invest into it this way. And with something with a product that's already out there, a fabulous product on top of it. I mean, they run great everywhere we've been with it so far. So, plus they were our competition, beforehand down here in Florida. So we're super excited about it and, looking to carry it into the future for them.
How did this happen? I mean, what was the genesis of you? I'm sure you didn't just wake up one morning and decide to buy Eleanor Racing Chassis. Tell us a little bit about how this came to be, because this is a pretty interesting move that you made.
I was just well, my family owns a CNC production machine shop here in Vero Beach, Florida.
Okay.
And we're already, you know, we do a lot of manufacturing for government contract works and so forth, and build a few high performance products for airboat racing. And that's kind of where racing started for us years ago. Back in the 80s, we actually were airboat drag racers, you know, at one point in time. Yeah.
Wow.
And then I decided when I was about 10 years old, my uncle had actually bought a Coyote wide track offset free roller, one of them multiple names that Coyote had at one time. And he kind of raced it a little bit here and there locally. And we had a little local concrete track called Fort Pierce Speedway. And, you know, my dad's like, hey, let's get this go-kart from your uncle and see if you like it. And beforehand, I had a 2-seater go-kart that I literally ran around my dad's barn in the backyard, and I had to go in reverse instead of driving the normal direction we would and turning left. I had to turn right because the way the thing would one wheel peel, it only turned really good to the right. So before I started go-kart racing, I learned how to turn right before I did left, if that makes any sense.
Wow.
But no, we started, you know, at Fort Pierce Speedway, and eventually we took it to a different level and started running state races. Local dirt track stuff, you know, Crossroads Motorplex, and then from there we went on a national level until about 2002, 2003. We stayed pretty consistent with it, and I was about 19 years old, and then of course, Dad kind of stepped out of the picture, and then I kind of took over the reins from there. But yeah, we're here now because, well, my son, he's been racing for 7 years now, and we've been enjoying every minute of it, you know, doing what we do, but now we're wanting to get into the chassis side of it and, you know, promote our own product for once.
Well, so you're transitioning basically from chassis dealer to chassis owner. Where are you at the present moment in that transition?
So I am presently under construction still, waiting on the electrician to finish dropping some cords into my equipment. Once that's completed, Chase Fitzgerald, the former owner, is coming over with us, and we're actually going to manufacture, you know, 10 or so carts out of our facility.
Okay.
Before we took the equipment down, I got to take the time and go over there with him and then run through the process with it in his facility. But just to make sure that everything's up and running back to how the standards were before it left, Chase is going to come over and ensure that we're doing it correctly over here too. With that being said, we're looking to utilize the man that's been welding the chassis for the past 7 years, 5 to 7 years, I think. So he'll be coming on board with us, doing piecework and keeping the chassis welded correctly, and training a couple of our welders too at the same time. So.
Okay, so I obviously want to give you a chance to explain yourself here. So what makes Eleanor chassis different? What makes an Eleanor chassis different from a Charger or any other type of cart?
I can't really, I mean, I'm actually, they're really close in my opinion. If I went apples for apples, I mean, I feel like they're just, they're most go-karts are the same. Most go-kart chassis manufacturers have the same idea, you know, and how to build one, and what you're looking for in geometry in it. And I mean, it's apples to apples. They're really close. I mean, I feel like actually, you know, based on what my driver told me, he said, "Man, Dad, the Eleanor is probably the best turning chassis he's ever drove," and that's coming right out of the box. I mean, he's been on Phantom and he's been on every type of Phantom since the Junior Triton, and you know that's you know, at one point in time he was 7 years old when he was, you know, or 6 years old on a Junior Triton, but now he's 14 years old.
Yeah.
But he's been on the Recon, he's been on the Scythe, he's been on the Tricon now, and he actually said this is the best turning go-kart he's ever drove. And it's kind of, you know, I'm like, are you just saying that? He's like, no, Dad, I'm being dead serious. He said it turns really, really good. So, you know, and we've only got to race at, you know, two events so far. Starting off in the first opening weekend we had on it. He did qualify on the pole in Pro Medium at Alma, Georgia at the Velocity race. And then we didn't qualify worse than second all day on it. And, you know, that's also comparing to Matt Connell and M7, you know, the 811, we were right there with him all day long.
Wow.
yeah, so we were super impressed with, just transitioning my tire program over to that cart. It actually done really well.
So then if they're really close, by the way, you just completely flunked Marketing 101 because you're supposed to point out all the differences and tell us why yours is the best, right?
Well,
if you want to sell more than the next guy, you got to figure out what's better here.
I could say the craftsmanship. There's a lot of time put into the craftsmanship of it, and I wish I could say more about it because I physically have to start building them, myself
Right,
to tell you more about them.
I get it.
But I'm marketing. I like to be honest. That to me, that honesty is probably the best marketing tool you can have.
So we just got to figure out how to differentiate Eleanor from the rest of the pack here. That's
right.
the key. Okay, yep. So then you bought it and you own it and you're getting it up and running now in your facility, which I imagine is quite a fascinating process, honestly. But what are your future goals for it? I mean, where do you want to take it?
I mean, I'd like to take it further into the southeast. When I say further into the southeast, yeah, we're in Florida. We're about as southeast as you can go. Let's say further north. Let's say further north into the southeast.
Canada.
Yeah, which we've I've had the pleasure of speaking with several people across the country that are already on them. I mean, I was honestly shocked at how many people from Texas to Ohio to Wisconsin. I mean, it's just amazing how many clients are already on this chassis and the success rate that they have on it. And it's been really, I was really kind of like flabbergasted by it in a way. I was like, wow, this is crazy,
Nice.
Yeah. And yeah, it doesn't carry a lot of recognition into the South Carolina, North Carolina region. It's starting to gain, it had some momentum in Georgia. We have a few dealers in Georgia, a few people on them in Georgia, but and primarily we mostly race that region anyways. I mean, I joke about it, but our local track is 3.5 hours away from the house. But that's the honest God truth. So we tend to try to move out of Florida and move and, keep racing up in the Carolinas and, Georgia. And I just don't think its exposure there hasn't been put out there because nobody has really raced in that region with it, on a national level. So that's what we're here for. That's what we're here to introduce it to.
So before we get to Batesville here real quick, tell folks how they can reach out to you if they want to buy an Eleanor chassis. How do they do that?
So they can reach me directly on my cell phone number, which is on the Eleanor page, and they can also contact one of our dealers, which we're actually kind of combing through the list of dealers right now to see who's still active. That's part of the paperwork process, but that will be updated very soon. We're looking at being in full production by the first week of December, being able to take orders by the first week of December with a surplus of carts completed by the second week of December. With that being said, we're, like I said, they can contact us straight through the Facebook page. They can contact me directly. That's one good thing about me being a part of this now is, it's kind of the same as with Chase. Chase, you could, he would take phone calls, who he knew. But I'm probably one of the few chassis manufacturers that you're going to be able to call and you're going to have the owner of the manufacturer pick up the phone. There's no tech advisor or anything in between us. You're coming right to the source whenever you call us over here. So
okay, so let's talk about Batesville. We got about 4 minutes here. Let's talk Batesville for a moment. 35th annual O'Reilly Auto Parts National Indoor Kart Championship. In 2 minutes or less, what does Batesville mean to you, and what is the challenge now for you with Eleanor Kart Chassis for this year's event?
Well, the challenge for me is to come out there and learn what the racetrack does. I'm excited about it because this will be our first trip out to Batesville as Bryant Motorsports as a team. And I know, I know the man that's kind of always put this on with Shane James. I actually grew up racing with him So I'm excited to actually come out to one of his events for once. I haven't, and in 30 years of doing this, I have yet to be out there. So I'm super excited about that.
What have you been thinking all this time, man? It's the biggest event in karting. I'm a little biased.
It's 15 hours away too for me. So it's it's nothing but drive time, nothing but windshield time. But no, we're super excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. Lawson had some success at Williamston a few years ago in Junior 2. And he's been like poking me in the side saying, Dad, can we go to Batesville? Let's go to Batesville. And this has been like the past 2 years, but, so I think, as far as results wise, I'm praying to God that we come out there and have, a good showing. But otherwise we're just out there to kind of promote what we have and mainly meet a lot of people that are on our product out there now. A lot of people from Arkansas, Missouri, that area, they're already on, Eleanor. So it's a great opportunity to meet with, partners and, maybe do some more marketing out that way.
Trial by fire for sure, because obviously Batesville happens once a year. It is a one-of-a-kind indoor event, and it with 1,400 entries a year, it's a stacked field for sure. So I'm sure it'll be interesting for you and a good way to sort of get some notes and figure things out for future years. But we hope that certainly putting my Batesville announcer hat on, we hope that this will be your first of many years coming to the event. And it certainly will be, I'm sure, an eye-opening experience for you, not just as a racer or a race team, but actually as a chassis manufacturer as well.
Yep. I'm super excited about it. Can't wait to get out there. Just trying to figure out if I need to break a smudge pot or a cooler full of lights, one of the two. Both. Yeah, I'm about to bring both.
Prepared for anything.
Yeah. It's somewhere new territory, man. We're always about racing on new tracks. It's something we like to do as a family anyways. We like to travel. And if there's a new place, a new track that we haven't been to yet, and we happen to be driving by it and they're racing on a Friday night, we might even stop and race on a Friday night on the way to something. So it's something enjoyable for us, and it starts to put our track count up on the tally list. So anything to increase it.
Well, we look forward to seeing you at Batesville. The Tom Baker Show will be recording an episode, as we did last year, from the Batesville Civic Center on Thanksgiving Day. That'll broadcast sometime in December. So look forward to seeing you out there. We wish you safe trip both ways, and while you're there, hopefully good, safe, and exciting racing and a great start to your new project there. One more time, tell us the Facebook or the website where the fans reach it.
It'd be Eleanor Racing Chassis on Facebook, and Eleanor Racing Chassis at gmail.com is a good way to contact as well.
Okay, so that is Larry Bryant from Eleanor Racing Chassis, just another of the folks that we'll be seeing at the 35th Annual O'Reilly Auto Parts National Indoor Kart Championship. We'll be back to wrap things up and talk more about Batesville right after this. For over 50 years, FHS Superior Synthetic Oil has powered high-performance engines with unbeatable protection and speed. Whether it's drag racing, go-karts, sprint cars, stock cars, or your daily driver, FHS stands for high speed and delivers every time. Their advanced synthetic oils boost your engine's responsiveness, acceleration, and efficiency, giving you the winning edge on every lap. Visit FHSoil.com today to find the right products for your engine. FHSoil.com. Welcome back to the show. This segment of our show being brought to you by Superior Graphics. Superior Graphics is run by a family of passionate designers dedicated to bringing your ideas to life. They are your go-to, absolutely the go-to for wraps, apparel, banners, and so much more. Dustin Bell and his staff will take care of you in fine fashion. They have a website, so you can go check them out. It's www.superiorgraphicsllc.com, or just look up Superior Graphics LLC on Facebook. And It is fun to talk about the O'Reilly Auto Parts National Indoor Kart Championships at Batesville. I am working on 25 years as the voice of that event. I can't believe it, honestly. 25 years is a long time to be the voice of anything. But that event, for those of you who don't know, it is the world's largest indoor kart race. We end up getting about 13 to 1,400 entries, 44 classes over 2 days, 22 classes a day. And here's the deal with this type of karting event that makes it incredibly special for me. Okay, practice 8 a.m. Nothing special about that, particularly for the racers. Get up early, get on the kart, let's go, right? Qualifying 1 round, 22 features, 20 karts in each, 1 round of qualifying. That's what makes it exciting for me, because I get to call that, Hayden Benson and I. This is an event where qualifying is every bit as exciting as a race, because we have seen, I can't tell you how many times, 1,000th of a second. And that's it. 1,000th of a second, the difference between being in and going home. And it's just incredible to watch. It's an indoor dirt kart event. And for those of you not familiar with Batesville, Mississippi, it is the coolest little town. It has a giant civic center, and we are the largest event that civic center holds all year long. It takes about 2 weeks. You got to bring the dirt in, you got to form the track and put in the guardrails and do all of that. It's about a 2-week build every year. Shane James and his staff do an outstanding job with it. This race is live streamed on POWERTube TV. If you want to join us and watch Friday and Saturday, November 28th and 29th, and POWERTube TV is the place to find it. It's Tony Stevens and his group do an absolutely phenomenal job for us. And everything from qualifying forward is live streamed. You'll get a couple of live Facebook look-ins on the O'Reilly Auto Parts National Indoor Kart Championship Facebook page, ONIKC. So you can check it out if you'd like, but we would love to have you join us on the pay-per-view, because it is an incredibly special event. We've had drivers from Ben Rhodes to AJ Foyt IV to Craig Kinzer. Of course, Sammy Swindell actually ran our event one time. His son Kevin won tons of races at our event. Kevin was a very successful part of our race for a number of years. And of course, we've had a lot of other racers that have gone on to local and regional success at big cars as well. So it's just a fun event. Dirt go-karting is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. When you bring them indoors like this and put 20 of them on about a 10th mile track, it gets really nuts. So join us. Look up O'Reilly Auto Parts National Indoor Kart Championship on Facebook. ONIKC.com is the website. And want to thank my guests, Curtis Polchek and Larry Bryant, for joining us on this show. Of course, for more great content, steeringwheelnation.com, at the Wheel Nation on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So long.